let's get to another piece of news, shall we? Piece of news 2 is as regards Randy Orton. It's not quite as in-depth as the last one. Randy Orton has finally returned to the WWE after an absence that has simply been described several times to me as undisclosed. Randy Orton returns on this week's Raw after several weeks off for an undisclosed reason. I can't disclose the reason because, first and foremost, I don't know the reason. The reason is not public knowledge. The reason has not got out there. It hasn't gotten out in a similar way to how Keith Lee's absence wasn't explained. Now, some people do know why Keith Lee was out. Some people do know that. I don't personally, but some people that I do know. But they aren't saying anything out of respect for that person. Randy Orton, I feel, doesn't get the same level of respect because some people just for some reason hate Randy Orton. Particularly if you're an AEW fan, given how Randy Orton played them. Orton's disappearance from Monday Night Raw was a shock to everyone. Particularly the WWE, because it really came, if you'll forgive the pun, out of nowhere. It was an emergency situation that he apparently had no control over, but I've had it confirmed that apparently Orton himself has not been suffering with COVID-19, so it is not believed to be COVID related. After the first week, in which Orton simply didn't turn up so the WWE did the best they could with Matt Riddle, John Laurinaitis apparently spoke of Orton and they worked out the plan from there. And so, here we are. For the first couple of weeks, Matt Riddle was still prominently featured, but without Randy Orton, Riddle became less and less featured. Without an intended plan for Orton to return, Riddle wasn't featured on TV a couple of times or was just backstage. This would have extended into SummerSlam, but Orton did confirm that he would be back in time for that. And this is why Styles and Omos began the attacks on Riddle, because it was all confirmed about the schedule of Orton's return. The WWE were confident that Orton would be returning within a couple of weeks before the impending tag title match at SummerSlam, which meant they had enough time to promote the fact that that match would be happening. Randall is out for blood this week, particularly the blood of AJ Styles and Omos. Omos destroyed Riddle last week in the Bobby Lashley style. Orton will be looking for revenge. As much as anything, I want to point out just how happy the creative teams are with the RKBro combination. They're on a mission to make new stars as best they can on Raw, and it's not gone very, very well. Randy Orton and AJ Styles are in the tag divisions purely to elevate people in those divisions to try and make new stars out of people such as Matt Riddle and Omos, people that essentially AJ Styles and Randy Orton chose to work with. And it is working for those individuals. The fan reaction to Matt Riddle has been the cause of great optimism backstage, and as we know, Vince McMahon is a very big fan of Matt Riddle. After SummerSlam, at least one of these four will be getting involved at a higher level, so keep an eye out for that. It's practically the only good thing Raw has going for it right now. Get the Table says Randy Orton is so underappreciated. He's never talked in the greatest of all time conversations. After his run in the Thunderdome era, I think he's there. I really do, and I think his name is going to come up a lot more in the near future. Noob says Randy disappeared a few weeks ago, returned a few weeks later. Hope Orton is ready to go after Omos first and send him to AEW, right? Oh, of course, the idea that Randy Orton retires people. Well, he is the legend killer. I don't think Omos is quite legendary just yet. Captain Buzzy says the fact that the tag division is the best thing about Raw speaks volumes to me. It makes everything else about it look bleak in comparison, even the WWE title scene. To be fair, Bobby Lashley is really worth our time. Really worth our time, Bobby Lashley. Goldberg not so much. Get the Table says Riddle seems to be super over with the fans. Who do you think Lashley drops the title to? Could it possibly be Riddle? There's a number of possibilities at the minute. I felt the most obvious one was Big E, taking the briefcase across to Raw and cashing in. So, Big E was sort of the obvious one. Riddle is also in and about it for me. If he doesn't win the championships, the tag championships at SummerSlam, I'd be looking in that direction. But also, Adam Cole Bebe has been promised some pretty big pushes. So we can't be sure now.